up on the bulletin, is it going to be war or will it be peace? The entire world is awaiting the talks which may just happen in Islamabad between US and Iran. We don't have a confirmation yet. Unfortunately, the days of mixed signals are back. Threads on social media and a ceasefire ticking down by the hour. The second round of US-Iran talks is now hanging in a strange space. Not confirmed, not cancelled, but constantly being rewritten in real time. Washington says that the delegation is ready. Tehran says nothing is decided. And between the two, the Strait of Hormuz has become both a bargaining chip and a battlefield. Now, this comes after a turbulent first round of talks in Islamabad that ended without a breakthrough. Since then, escalation has continued alongside diplomacy. The United States has maintained a blockade on Iranian ports, intercepting vessels and tightening maritime pressure. Iran, in response, has alternated between reopening and reimposing restrictions on the Strait of Hormuz. In fact, the internal power split that we've seen inside Iran may just be the reason as to why there seem to be conflicting ideas of whether there are going to be talks, whether Iran's going to be part of it, whether Iran's going to be boycotting it. It does appear, by the looks of it, there seems to be a split in the Iranian authorities. On one hand, you have the all-powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guards, or else their military. On the other hand, you have the civilian authorities. There is one side, which is the authorities, the civilian elected representatives. They seem to be favoring some kind of a ceasefire so that all of this can end. On the other hand, you have the military, which seems to be very strong force within the government as well. They don't seem very keen. They want an escalation in Hormuz and to end the entire conflict that we've seen, the decadal conflicts, in an end. So will there be a deal? Will there be a delay? Will there be an end to this deadlock? The stage is set. What we don't know if these talks will happen or not. Let me go across to Srinjoy Chaudhary, who's joining us with all the latest. Our consulting editor, Srinjoy, will they, won't they? We don't really know. We know US wants to, but they have been, their actions haven't been matching their words. You have Iran, they have different conflicting voices coming in. The military says something else, the civilian administration says something else. What's going to happen tomorrow? The deadlock, the ceasefire ends.
It all begins with the fact that after 39 days of serious fighting, both sides have declared victory. So if you've declared victory, you're the winner. You think you can set terms. So if both sides are setting terms, they are setting terms that actually suit them. There is no area or very few areas where there is any kind of similarity between the terms both sides have set. So first of all, what are they going to discuss? Because what either side wants is very different from each other or the other. The second thing is, assuming these talks take place, so far we haven't seen any indication that these talks will actually happen tomorrow. The first thing that both sides would want, and the world is waiting to hear, is an extension of the ceasefire. Will that happen? Will that not happen? If the ceasefire is extended, at least that is some kind of fig leaf, at least some kind of reassurance to the world that yes, both sides want to make peace.
Well, in fact, Srinjoy, do stay on with us. Let's also explain to our viewers as to why there have been these flip-flops. Let me go across and tell you why there seems to be some kind of disconnect when it comes to talks or no talks. The second round of talks, there you have it. Why is there this problem? US is saying the talks have been set up in Islamabad. Iran has said there are no plans for a second round. Of course, in the first round too, Iran had said our delegation's not going to be going. However, there was a 50-member delegation that Iran did send, a 70-member delegation that Iran did send even for the first round. US says we won't lift the Hormuz blockade. You have Iran saying the blockade is a key obstacle to talks. Till America lifts its blockade, there are going to be no talks. And this is only exclamation as to why this escalation must be ended. US says that there is no Mr. Nice Guy, as Trump calls it. No Mr. Nice Guy. You have Iran saying there are no talks amidst these threats which are coming in from Trump. One of the things he has said is that they are going to be blowing things up be it the civilian bridges, be it the power plants. Trump has also, remember, ordered the army, their navy to seize Iranian ship. One of the ships has already been seized by US. That has been called an escalation by Iran. Iran says this is an act of armed piracy. Next sticking point, when you have US saying that bombs are going to go off. That is what Trump said last night. Bombs are going to go off if you don't take this deal, to which Iran has said the atmosphere is not conducive. Also saying that we do not adhere to ultimatums. We do not respond to that. So this is the kind of war of words that we have seen, and unfortunately, it's not ceasefire. It's all threads that we can see on social media where this war of words is happening. Meanwhile, let's tell you about the Iranian media reports which are coming in. Well, Iranian diplomatic delegation, they say, be it a primary or a secondary team or an initial or a follow-up mission, has traveled to Islamabad, that Pakistan, so far, saying essentially that no one's gone to visit Islamabad. The talks are completely clouded by fresh uncertainty, with the Iranian media now yet to confirm the participation, saying no one has traveled to Islamabad. This is huge. Let me go across to Srinjoy Chaudhary. Srinjoy, you're just explaining to our viewers how there seems to be a disconnect between the military and the administration, the politicians in Iran as well. Is that why we see this kind of a flip-flop, the uncertainty? Who wants peace and who wants an escalation in Iran?
Well, assuming everyone wants peace, they want peace in a different way. And they have different routes. They think that their route is the better route, assuming there is a difference of opinion between both sides. Now, the big question is, will there be an Iranian delegation in Islamabad? So far, there seems to be a clear sign that they are very hesitant to take that plane from Tehran to Islamabad. Now, if that is so, one wonders whether there will be talks tomorrow or not. One way of perhaps assessing this correctly is to check whether J.D. Vance, the U.S. Vice President, actually gets on that flight. Because if he's on the flight, you would assume that the Vice President of the United States will not fly 12 hours to Islamabad to walk into an empty room.
Absolutely.
The chances are that by then, he would have got some kind of assurance that the Iranians are coming. And even if the Iranians haven't got onto the plane, the distance from Tehran to Islamabad is about 2 or 3 hours. So 6-7 hours after Vance leaves, the Iranians can make haste and get on the flight. So this is the only way to see these things, because we don't know who is saying what and why they are saying what they are saying. Because a lot of it is grandstanding, a lot of it is an effort to push the other side to a corner. This is what you call brinkmanship. And this level of brinkmanship has been going on for quite a while.
This is brinkmanship, and on the face of it, maximalist when it comes to the kind of demands which have been made. Not just one, but by both the sides. Meanwhile, let me explain to you. Remember, we've been discussing how who really is calling these shots in Iran. Is there some kind of a disconnect between one arm and the other? Let's tell you. Now, there are 3 different arms which are there in power. You, of course, have the diplomatic channels, which are led essentially by Abbas Araghchi. Then you have the political leadership, which is Ghalibaf. He is, in fact, the speaker of their house as well. He is part of the Security Council as well. He is also someone who is empowered enough, and he was part of the earlier peace talks as well, along with Araghchi. But there is another one. This is the Islamic Revolutionary. We are going to go back to the first one, first plate, which will show you how the third big pillar which is there in Iran is that of the military. This is the core IRGC. This is being controlled by the army there, which is the Islamic Revolutionary Guards. And they are the ones who are currently controlling the Hormuz operation, having blocked it. The next thing we are going to show for you is how you have a Araghchi-led band which is pushing for talks and also de-escalation, especially when it comes to Hormuz. You have the Ghalibaf ones, which are the political leadership of Iran, who are formally in charge of the negotiations. Also, as per sources, they are in favor of holding these negotiations. Then you have the military, the all-powerful army of Iran. They are the ones who have been firing on vessels. They are the ones who are overriding the policy. Remember, you had the political leadership saying that Indian ships are going to be given a safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. However, when two of the Indian ships, they went to Hormuz, they were being shot at. Who shot at them? This was none other than the IRGC. So there are these mismatches that we have seen. On one hand, you have some people coming out and saying there will be talks, others saying there will not be talks. On one hand, you have people from the power centers of Iran saying Indian ships will be given passage. On the other hand, you have Indian ships being fired upon by the army and the navy in Iran, which perhaps would explain why there seems to be a three-way split in their leadership. Could be the reason why you have this kind of a mismatch in the words coming out.